As the electric car market continues to surge, and with some internal combustion cars on the brink of extinction, many car enthusiasts like myself are wondering, are we going to be left with bland and uninspiring EVs? Well, don't worry about that, because Hyundai's got the Ioniq 5N, the answer to that question. So what I like that Hyundai has done with their flagship performance EV is unlike any other brand. Instead of just putting some big wheels and a boot spoiler, AKA the Model Y, which this competes against, no, Hyundai has really thought about it. They've thought about the enthusiast. So what they've done is completely changed the external design, the internal design, and most importantly, everything underneath is being enhanced to make this one incredible piece of machine. Now, in terms of the front design of this car, I really do like it. I love this aggressive front bumper. I love these headlights that mimic, and they look like pixelated digital things that you would see on a 80s video game. Then I love this lower portion of the grille down here. You've actually got a grille down the bottom here because you need cooling for all those batteries. And then I also love that the aero at the front is actually real and actually serves a purpose. But guys, let me know, what do you think in the comments? Do you like the front of this, or are you a bit like about it? Okay, so coming down the side, guys, we've got these striking lines through the body here. This car has a lot of character to it, and you know, when you see it on the road, you know it's an N. You've got 21-inch forged alloy wheels with 4-piston brake calipers and 400mm rotors. You've got some serious stopping power right there. Now, some people might use the regen braking, but me, being old-fashioned, I like to use the mechanical brakes, and they work really well. We've also got door handles that actually pop out, if I can find the keys. I do like that, really nice. And then when you close it, flush with the body. Really, really nice. Now, this is where you see the Ioniq 5N being completely different to its brother, the Ioniq 5. So it has a wider track, and you can tell this by these massive rear haunches. It's longer, and it actually sits lower than the standard Ioniq 5 and makes it look really aggressive on the road. So the rear of this car has to be my favorite by far. I just love how this rear spoiler just protrudes outside the rear of the car. It's very, very aggressive, and it looks really nice when you're behind it. And now I love how it's got the reflector up here, and it's also got this Formula One inspired reflector down here with this ginormous diffuser. And then I love the checkered flags that are here. If you notice, nice little detail with the reflectors. And then you've got this rear tail bar, this LED rear tail bar that has all these little cubes, these pixelated cubes. Like I said, like the front, it mimics, it looks like something from an 80s video game. Another thing is the car drives like it's a video game. But what do you think? Do you like the rear end of this? Do you like this massive diffuser? Me, I like it, but I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments. Funny enough, this is actually classified on paper as a small SUV, but it looks like a big hatch. Whoa, I didn't do that itself. You have a 480 litre boot, which is pretty decent. It fits a pram very easily, and groceries. So not much to complain about. So let's talk about charging. You have AC and DC charging. You got this little light effect here, which is really neat and effective because it shows you how charged the car is. Now, from an AC charger at 7 kilowatts, you can expect this to charge in just over 10 hours. However, at a 50 kilowatt DC charger, it will charge from 10 to 80% in 70 minutes. But if you find yourself a charging station that will charge all the way up to 350 kilowatts, this will charge in 18 minutes. So what do you get for $110,000? Is it all show and no go? Well, that's not the case with the Ioniq 5N. Like I said, there is something seriously insane lurking underneath, and that is an 84 kilowatt hour battery with 2 electric motors, allowing this car to produce 448 kilowatts and 740 newton meters of torque, sending all that power to all 4 wheels, allowing this to do a 0 to 100 time in 3.5 seconds. That is absolutely insane. And if that's not enough for you, there is a button on the wheel called N-Grin Boost Mode. Hit that and you get another 30 kilowatts and another 30 newton meters of torque, allowing this to do a 0 to 100 time in 3.4 seconds. That is rapid. In terms of range, well, you got around about a 448 kilometer range, which in the real world is around about, say, 400. And in terms of electric consumption, you got 21 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. Look, it's not the most efficient, but after all, it is a performance car, so who really cares? So you thought the outside was different and was directed solely to motoring enthusiasts. Well, as soon as you step foot inside the Ioniq 5N, you're immersed with how extremely sporty this interior actually is. From its Formula E inspired steering wheel, that literally looks like it comes from a Formula E car, from the N buttons on it to the NGB mode and the driver mode, which don't worry, I'll go in depth later what they actually do, to these racing seats that have the N logo that illuminate in them, to the black roof lining, to the signature N stitching in the doors, in the seat. It is honestly such a pleasure to sit in a car, or an electric car for that matter, that looks completely different to the car that it is based on. And I have to say this, Hyundai, you've done such a phenomenal job. I can't wait to drive this and share the driving experience with you guys as well. So in terms of tech, what do you get? Well, you get 2 12.3-inch displays. One is for the infotainment and one is for the digital driver's display. You get a heads-up display. You get wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which is refreshing, a wireless phone charger, and an 8-speaker Bose sound system. And everything on this infotainment screen is very clear and very crisp and works really well as the digital driver's display. So what do you get in terms of comfort? Well, you get heated and cooled front seats, you get a heated steering wheel, you get dual climate controls, and you also get manually adjustable seats. Now the reason for that is because Hyundai wanted to mount the seats lower to the ground to give the car more driver-focused feel. And to do that, they had to put manual seats in because electric seats have a motor and which would keep the seats higher. So that's why you have manually adjustable seats. Look, they're not the worst in the world, and funny enough, they're actually pretty comfortable, to be fair. So this is where the Ioniq 5N leaps ahead of the competition in terms of the electric performance car segment. It is honestly the best, and I will show you why. And it's due to the customization of all the driving modes in this car. So in terms of customization, you've got custom 1 and custom 2, so you can set 2 different kind of profiles for 2 different people. You got the motor, which has 4 settings. The steering has 3 settings. The suspension, which is adaptive, has 3 settings. Your electronically controlled limit slip differential has 3 settings. Traction control, you know, the head-up display, there's obviously, I showed you guys, there's 2 settings of that shows you the heads up and also the digital driver cluster. So that changes that. And then you got the noises it makes. So let's go through the noises, okay? So there's 3 noises. Ignition's my favorite. It's supposed to mimic an i30N, but a bit more digital. So listen to this. And you can hear that burble in the back there in the exhaust, or exhaust that should be back there. Then you got evolution. It's supposed to be a bit more futuristic and what an electric car should sound like. And then you got supersonic, that's supposed to mimic a jet. I don't know how I feel about that. All right, so in this mode, which is the settings for all the performance settings, you've got N launch control, right, which I haven't used. Then you've got NE shift, right? Then you've got sounds, you've got everything, guys. Like, look, even on the digital driver cluster here, you've got the temperatures for the batteries, right? So you got your battery preconditioning for drag and track. So the car will, you know, worry about the conditioning of the batteries, their temperatures and what they should be at before you decide to either launch it or take it around the track. And what that does is it makes sure that the temperature of the batteries never exceeds so you don't get loss of power.
Then you've got iPedal mode, right? So in this mode, there's three modes. Actually, there's 4 modes, and this is your single pedal driving. Now on the 4th mode, which is the max mode, okay, it's the most aggressive single pedal pedal driving that I've ever experienced in any electric car. It will go all the way to ABS, which is insane. Then you got drift optimization, which I beg you, Hyundai, let us take this on the track so I can experience that. Then you got N race, and then you got N torque distribution. You can decide where the torque goes. Then you've got a track setting, shows you what track you're at, right? Then you've got gauges mode, which shows you like times, acceleration, etc., etc. And then you've got an actual timer for acceleration and recording your lap times, which is insane. Like, I don't understand why you'd even consider any other performance electric car. I would just get this. So how practical is the Ioniq 5N? Well, it is based off the Ioniq 5, so it is pretty practical. One thing they did not change is the driver select. They still are using this questionable knob configuration, if you all know what I'm talking about. Like, why? They could just I just think it looks kind of, yeah, just like, do not digress. Let's just talk about practicality. So the middle console here. So a bit different to the Ioniq 5 that it's based on. It's the updated version. So this one is fixed. It does not move. It's still very practical. So you got 2 cup holders down here, which when you press the button, they come out. If you press it, and you can put them away, and then you press it and they open up. And they fit your coffee cup very easy. Your middle armrest, well, you got plenty of storage in there. You also got storage under here. You got a USB-C charger here, 12-volt socket, 2 USB-C ports here that you can change from mirroring to just charging. You've got pretty decent sized door bins, and you've got physical volume knobs. Thank you, Hyundai, and a tuner. You don't have to faff around in touch sensitive buttons. So that is really, really good. Okay, so what's the Ioniq 5N like to drive? Well, we're at a set of lights now, so I can actually talk about a couple of things, right? So general driving in eco mode and normal mode, it's like the Ioniq 5. It's really nice, it's really comfortable, it's very practical, and it does everything what you would expect it to do in terms of being a very good daily EV. So you can actually daily this. In terms of the safety features, well, you've got radar cruise control, blind spot monitoring, lane keeping assist, 360-degree camera, front and rear sensors, and you've also got autonomous driving. What I don't like about the safety systems are 2 of them, and that is the sign recognition, which beeps no matter, even if you go 2 kilometers over the speed limit, and the lane keeping assist. It is really, really frustrating. All right, so N mode, what's it like? Well, I'm in mechanical mode right now. As you can hear, I'm nearly at around about 5,000 technical RPMs, and I'm just gonna punch it and show you what it's like. I love this car. It's the first electric car that I have driven that actually has a personality. It's got so much character to it. And look, like I've said, that the noises it makes adds to the theater, and I really do like it and I appreciate it. In terms of what you get in this, guys, like I was talking with the settings before, you've got torque vectoring at the front, you've got an electronically controlled limited rear differential, and you've also got adaptive dampers. The adaptive dampers do a really good job, not just in sport mode, but in comfort mode by absorbing all the bumps. And you've got to remember, this car has a top speed of 260 kilometers per hour. And that's thanks to, honestly, the batteries. They control their temperatures really well compared to most electric performance cars. There's so much cooling going on to stop them from overheating. Another thing you've got to wonder with this car is you'd think that the braking would have a lot of fading, right? There'll be a lot of brake fade. There is no brake fade whatsoever in this car. And I'm not joking. You can smash it into corners and it takes that punishment. I love it in the mechanical mode. I like relying on the big pistons at the front and the massive rotors. I do like it. It makes it more enjoyable, makes it more like I'm actually driving an internal combustion motor. And I love this mechanical mode, changing up and down gears, even though they're completely fake, right? Another thing to note, guys, is that when you're driving this really hard and you're chucking it into corners, you really do ignore the fact that this car does weigh over 2.2 tons, but it is so nimble and so direct, and this all-wheel drive system is just phenomenal. I really cannot fault this car. I have to say this, and I'm gonna say this has to be the best performance electric car on the market today, and I'm so surprised by it, and I'm actually falling in love with it.
So what's my final verdict on the Ioniq 5N? Well, let me just put it this way. I'm not the biggest fan of electric cars. However, this thing has won me over. I honestly think this is the best electric car on the market to date, just because it feels special, it looks special, and it just has so much presence on the road. It really is a testament to Hyundai building a car specifically for motoring enthusiasts, and they've done such a fantastic job of it, and I just can't fault it. So guys, if you're gonna buy an electric car and you're a motoring enthusiast, go sign that paper and buy yourself an Ioniq 5N. You won't be disappointed.